Hi everybody, thank you for watching another episode. And today I'm here with my wife Brittany. And I'm gonna dive a little deeper in how we met each other and how this all came about because I am Dutch. My mom is Dutch and my dad is from Iran, so I'm half Iranian, half Dutch. And Brittany comes from California. So those are two different worlds. But we're very excited to share with you how this all came about. So I'll start or ask the question to you. How did it all? How did we meet?
So I was on Instagram, and I can't say exactly when the first moment that I noticed David's profile was, but I had seen that there was someone who was liking a lot of my posts and stories and leaving thoughtful comments, and then I naturally just followed back after seeing the repetition of the positivity. And when I followed him back, then I started to see how we would like When I followed him back, I started to see how we would naturally gravitate toward the same posts on Instagram. So then I thought we had a lot in common. And when I followed him back, I actually thought that we maybe had met each other in passing because his name sounded familiar, but it was actually just an error on my part and he was a complete and total stranger. But I like talking to people on Instagram if they're positive, and he had approached me about my YouTube video. So that's what we had in common, was talking about graphic design.
Yeah, go check out her YouTube channel. It's very cool to see what she does with branding and graphic design, and that's what inspired me as well. And that's mainly the reason why I texted you in the first place, because I got excited watching your YouTube and you seem very nice, and that's how the conversation got rolling.
So then once I realized that we didn't know each other and that this was a completely new person, then I went back and looked at the messages that I hadn't responded to yet because they had went into a different folder for people who you weren't following originally. And then I saw his original message and I responded, and then I saw his profile. And when I saw his profile, the first post that I noticed was something about God on it. And so I was just curious about which God were you referring to. So that was the first thing I think I asked you was, oh, I see you're a man of God. Like, which God are you referring to?
Yeah.
And he said Jesus. And I was like, cool, Jesus, love that. And so that's how we started talking about our faith. And it wasn't long after that we did a phone call. And that first phone call, I think it was like hours. I remember I was walking around my neighborhood in Barcelona talking to this stranger about his new job and how he's going to take the train. And it was a really nice conversation. I just got to know him on the phone and hear his voice and stuff like that. But I didn't really think anything of it. Didn't think this was romantic or going to turn into anything, because I don't typically date strangers I meet online, like never have done that. So I was not thinking that at all. I was just like, oh, this is just a new acquaintance, online friend, someone I can inspire, someone who can inspire me. And so that's kind of how it started. But I think David had other plans because I was in Barcelona and he was in the Netherlands, and he kind of had plans in the back of his mind to travel to Barcelona someday. So now I'm getting into your side of the story.
Yes, so my sister used to live in Spain, in Barcelona or close to Barcelona, and you as well. You used to live in Barcelona. And one time I said to you, and this was like late 2023, I said, yeah, I'm going to Barcelona with my sister. I'm going for a few weeks to visit and enjoy the holidays, And I really wanted to meet you because we were talking for so long, for at least a year and a half. And I was like, I got to meet this girl, so cool, somebody from the US, And that's how it all came about. And once I arrived in Barcelona and we were close to Barcelona, where our Airbnb was, I literally visited you 4 times, I believe, in Barcelona. And after that, I was a little bit more intrigued, a little bit more sold. I was like, I'm dating this girl. So that's what happened. And then you were flying a week later to London with your friends, because you had American friends coming over as well in Barcelona to enjoy the holiday season. And you flew to London a week later, and I said very nonchalant, very impulsive. Yeah, I'm gonna go there as well because I wanted to see her again, and I think deep inside you wanted to see me as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm nodding my head not because he was saying I was into her. I was thinking, yeah, it's mutual. I was into him too.
She might want to see how far he would go to actually go on with this. So I get to London, and then we basically spent the entire day with each other, and it was so nice, it was so much fun. And that's when I was like, yeah, this is something to take serious. This is my potential wife. And you went back to the US, and then we talked on FaceTime a lot, and then you said, yeah, I'm coming over to Holland to check it out. And I was like, yeah, if she's coming here, then I'm gonna make sure I have a spare room where she can stay. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna do it the God way, you know.
So yeah, that trip to London was really special because I was excited to see that he was so interested, that he was willing to go there like at the last minute notice and get a passport at the last minute and scramble just to come and see me. So he took a risk going to London, and then I took a big risk coming to the Netherlands just to see him, because I had been to the Netherlands before but only to Amsterdam. I'd never been to the small town where David lives. So
I live all the way in the south.
Yeah, so it was a completely different environment to me, small town vibes, very suburban, lots of families here, and I'm used to like big cities, and I lived in LA before, and then Barcelona and Florence, and then this is a different pace, but this is something that I was also looking for as I was kind of getting older, and I turned 30, and I was thinking, okay, I would like to settle down. And I remember just before this Barcelona meetup, my dad had pulled me aside on like one of our daddy-daughter days and said, Brittany, what's like the one thing that you are missing in your life, or like what's one thing I can pray with you about right now? And I said, finding a husband. And he was like, really? I didn't expect you to say that. So we prayed about it, and then 3 months after that, which was about 3 months after my birthday, my 30th birthday, that's when David and I actually met in person. And we had been talking online, like on Instagram, for about 2 years before, but we met in person just after that prayer with my dad. So everything was kind of aligning. And I think it was after I came to the Netherlands that David decided that he wanted to ask me to marry him, and we'll get to that too, I guess. But it was also kind of a sign that even though my dad hadn't met him in person, he did instantly kind of approve of it because of what I told him about David and his first impression and his gut feeling, and knowing that he had prayed for me for that exact thing to happen and that it came to fruition.
Yeah, that's when I decided to basically set up the room for her and make it as comfy and cozy as possible. And I just wanted to make sure that I was not stumbling over potential sin. I wanted to live holy, obviously, and I wanted to get married, and everything needed to be in the right order. I wanted to do it God's way, and deep in my heart I was like, yeah, what if her dad or her mom doesn't approve of me, and they have maybe different cultural values and beliefs. And yeah, God saw us through, and we prayed about it, and I think it was like 2-3 months after you came here, I asked you to marry me, and then that was in June in 2024, and then in September we got married officially with the city hall and everything, and then 2 months later we did it ceremonial with the pastor and with the church and everything. So that was quite special.
Yeah, and we also did premarital counseling with our church here. And was it before or after we were married?
It was before.
Before, yeah. Normally you do it before, but I think maybe the last session was like right after or something like that. But yeah, it was really helpful in like kind of learning the differences between men and women and better communication skills. So highly recommend doing a pre-marriage course with your church if you have access to one.
Yeah, and I remember when I talked to your dad on the first phone call, the first FaceTime call, and I was so nervous. I was like, yeah, maybe your dad doesn't like me. But yeah, we got off the right foot right away.
And my dad is very picky, very particular. Never approved of any suitors that he's ever got wind of before. So
Yeah, so that was a plus point, and I was very lucky that he got along with it, and he approved of our plans to get married.
despite the fact that I was doing it all the way across the world. And yeah, that was just kind of another sign that everything was aligning, because I was not sure how that was going to go or be received by my family, but they were all very supportive, and they trust my instincts as well.
Yeah, and also the distance. I had some, yeah, I would say doubts, because I was like, yeah, this distance thing, maybe is this even right what I'm doing? Am I really listening to God in this? And obviously I loved you, so I wanted to continue with our plans, but I also was thinking, yeah, maybe I asked too much of myself going along with this long distance. But
we never had distance though, because we were able to see each other and visit each other. So there was a couple weeks before we were engaged that I had to go back to the US for some events, and that was the only time we were really like apart. I think it was a month. Or
I think so, yeah, it's 5-6 weeks.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That must have felt long. I must have missed you. But yeah, that was the only long distance time we had, and we would talk on the phone almost every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you, what is the biggest shocker when you came to live in Holland?
Oh, okay. We can make a whole video about that. Maybe you should. But I think the biggest shock is how, I guess, funny the language sounds. I don't want to be mean, but hearing the Dutch language, it's just not something I'm used to. I lived in Spain and Italy, and those are Latin languages. So hearing Dutch all the time, and some of the words are just so especially seeing them written out, and they're very long sometimes. So yeah, I think the language is probably the biggest shocker. So yeah, culturally, I feel like Dutch people and American people ironically have a lot in common. I think we understand each other, and Dutch people speak really good English, so there isn't a lot of language barrier, from my opinion, compared to other cultures. But it's just like the sound of the language, I think, has been the biggest shock.
The sound.
The sound, like the pronunciation, it's just really difficult. And also when I try to pronounce something and I'm saying it to him, he always can't understand me because I'm just saying it wrong. It's just really difficult to get the pronunciation right.
Well, I think Americans are, which positively surprised me, are very kind, they're very open, and I believe in your culture it's very normal to make friends easily, you know, and here in Holland everybody is a little bit to themselves, so I would say that's a big difference.
Yeah, every time I meet an American person in our town, we become instant friends and exchange numbers, and maybe that's also being an expat, but there's a different warmth and smile that you get from Americans that just takes a little bit longer with a Dutch person to get.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and now you've seen my wife Brittany as well. And I will, maybe next time I will show or post a video about how we have so much differences in our culture, and yeah, I think that would be a fun topic as well.
Yeah, and if I can give a piece of advice to you guys watching this, I know that in our generation, there's not everyone is choosing to get married and like commit to someone, but it's so worth it because it's just the way that God wanted it to be, just having your person, having that security that's especially important for women, and for men, just having that loyal partner who's going to be there with you through every season and motivate you in your career and everything, and just having each other as teammates. I think it's really worth it. So we are pro-marriage and we're loving it.
Amen. Well, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.